A chilling silence fills the empty house as the front door creaks open. The air feels heavy, like it's holding a secret. A phone rings in the distance, echoing off the walls. When Detective Charlie Hudson steps in, Rex's ears perk up. Something isn't right. The faint smell of fear lingers. And in that moment, both man and dog know, this isn't just another case. It's a message. Someone wanted them to find this. The episode opens with a quiet suburban morning in St. John's. The sun barely cuts through the fog that hangs low over the streets. A neighbor reports an open door at the end of Maple Ridge Lane, a house that should have been empty. Hudson and Rex are the first on the scene. As they enter, the calm neighborhood fades into tension. Furniture is untouched. Breakfast plates are still on the table. But there is an eerie absence. No voices, no movement, just a half-finished cup of coffee, now cold. Rex circles the room, his nose brushing against the floor, tracing something unseen. Then he stops, eyes locked on a faint smudge of blood on the corner of the countertop. Hudson takes a slow breath. This wasn't a break-in, he mutters under his breath. Someone left in a hurry, or was forced to. The camera pans to Rex, who whimpers softly, his instincts pulling him toward the back door. It's slightly ajar, leading into the garden, where the morning dew has preserved a single clear footprint, small, light, and barefoot. Hudson kneels beside it, realization dawning. Whoever it was, he says quietly, they didn't plan to come back. Back at headquarters, Sarah starts examining the smudge, while Jesse begins pulling security footage from nearby cameras. The evidence feels thin, but there's a strange pattern forming, something deliberate. It's as if the missing person wanted to leave behind just enough clues for them to follow. As Hudson watches the footage, Rex sits by his side, ears twitching with every sound. The bond between them is wordless but powerful. They both sense the truth before the evidence catches up. And then comes the first break. A figure caught in the background of one video, tall, wearing a dark coat, walking away from the house just minutes before the neighbors call. Hudson freezes the frame. That's no stranger, he says. That's someone who knows the victim. The tone shifts. The case isn't random anymore. It's personal. The section closes with Hudson looking out the window, the faint reflection of Rex beside him. The city stretches out before them, quiet and unaware. But he knows what's coming, a trail of lies, fear, and danger. All right, partner, he says softly. Let's see where this one takes us. Rex barks once, low and steady. The chase begins. The trail leads Hudson and Rex deeper into the mystery, pulling them into the kind of case that twists logic into knots. Hours after the discovery, the team gathers in the Major Crimes Unit, each member working under the faint hum of tension that fills the air. Sarah leans over her lab results, her voice steady but curious. The blood sample from the kitchen doesn't match the missing homeowner. It belongs to someone else, a stranger. That one fact shifts everything. The house wasn't a scene of escape, it was a scene of confrontation. Hudson's mind races. So, if it's not the victim's blood, he says quietly, then maybe the victim fought back. His eyes move toward the whiteboard as he starts piecing together what little they have. The open door, the missing person, the stranger's blood, the mysterious figure in the footage. Rex watches him closely, as if reading his thoughts. Hudson kneels beside him, resting a hand on Rex's neck. You smelled something at that house, didn't you? Rex gives a sharp bark, confirming what Hudson already suspects. Whoever bled there might still be nearby. They head back to the neighborhood. The streets look calm, almost too calm, as if holding their breath. Hudson and Rex retrace their steps, this time slower, more deliberate. Rex moves toward the alley behind the garden and stops beside a dumpster, sniffing intensely. Hudson lifts the lid. Inside is a torn piece of fabric, dark with dried blood. It's the same material as the coat from the surveillance footage. Someone tried to hide evidence, but not well enough. Hudson's jaw tightens. They were here, he murmurs. They're close. Back at HQ, Jesse traces the video further. The man in the dark coat walks toward a silver SUV parked a block away, but the license plate is blurred. Jesse enhances the image frame by frame until a single number becomes clear. 47. That's all Hudson needs. Run it through vehicle registration, he orders. Within minutes, a name flashes on screen. Mark Garrison, a contractor with a long history of minor thefts and a sealed police file from years ago. Hudson feels that spark of recognition. Garrison's name appeared in an old unsolved case involving a similar disappearance. It can't be coincidence. The next day, Hudson and Rex visit Garrison's workshop, a cluttered space filled with tools, sawdust, and tension thick enough to cut. GarrisonAxe.com. To calm. He wipes his hands and smiles, pretending not to notice the detective's sharp gaze. "Can I help you, detective?" he asks, his tone polite but hiding something underneath. Hudson nods slightly. "Just routine questioning about a property on Maple Ridge Lane." Garrison shrugs. "Never been there." But Rex growls softly, that instinctual growl that always speaks louder than evidence. Hudson notices a small scratch on Garrison's arm, half healed after they leave. Hudson sits in the car, staring at the windshield, thinking. "He's lying," he says finally. Rex barks once in agreement, but Hudson knows they can't move too soon. Without solid proof, they risk losing everything. The team digs deeper, uncovering that Garrison had recently done renovation work for the missing homeowner and had a dispute over unpaid fees. Motive starts to form like fog, unclear but undeniable. Late that night, Hudson revisits the case files at his desk. The room is dim, lit only by the soft glow of the lamp and Rex resting at his feet. He replays the footage again, frame by frame, until something clicks. A faint reflection in the house window shows not one figure leaving, but two. One taller, one smaller. The victim and Garrison together. It wasn't an abduction. It was an argument that went wrong. The realization hits hard. Hudson stands, running a hand through his hair. "We're not looking for a kidnapper," he says to Rex. "We're looking for someone who's trying to clean up a mistake." The clock ticks past midnight as the detective and his partner prepare for what comes next. The chase is no longer about finding a missing person, it's about catching someone. Before guilt turns into desperation, outside, rain begins to fall, steady and cold, drumming against the city streets. The sound echoes through the empty office, matching the tension building inside Hudson's chest. Somewhere out there, Garrison is hiding the truth, and Rex, with his sharp instincts and unshakable loyalty, is ready to find it. The hunt has officially begun, and Hudson knows one thing for sure. Once Rex is on the scent, there's no turning back. By dawn, the city wakes to a soft mist that blurs the edges of every street lamp and shadow. Hudson hasn't slept. His eyes are tired but sharp, fixed on the caseboard, crowded with photos, maps, and hastily written notes. Every thread leads back to Mark Garrison, but something about the story refuses to fit. Too many things feel planted, too many gaps in the timeline. He takes a slow sip of cold coffee, eyes flicking to Rex, who lies alert beside the desk. Head resting on his paws but gaze watchful. Hudson murmurs, almost to himself, "If Garrison wanted to hide, why leave the evidence behind?" That question changes everything. Minutes later, Sarah bursts into the room with a new report. "The blood on the fabric isn't just one person's, it's two. Mixed. That means there was a struggle," she says, "but someone else got hurt too." Hudson feels the weight of that detail. Maybe Garrison wasn't the only one there. Maybe he's not the monster they think he is. Jesse interrupts with another find, a deleted video file recovered from a nearby security camera. It's grainy, but clear enough to see what the first footage didn't show. After Garrison left, a second vehicle appeared, an unmarked van that stopped for less than 30 seconds. Someone stepped out, dragged a heavy bag into the back, and drove off. Hudson freezes the frame again. This isn't just a domestic dispute anymore. It's a cover-up. The person in the van is wearing gloves, a hood, and a badge clipped to their belt. A police badge. The realization hits like a jolt. "We've been chasing the wrong suspect," Hudson mutters. Someone inside knew how to erase the truth. Rex lifts his head and lets out a low growl, as if feeling his partner's frustration. The next hours unfold like a storm. Hudson and Rex track down Garrison's phone location to an old fishing warehouse near the docks. The scene is deserted, the sound of seagulls echoing through the cold metal walls. Hudson moves carefully, flashlight cutting through the shadows. There's a smell, faint but unmistakable, gasoline. Then he spots it. A trail of drag marks leading toward a locked storage room. He breaks it open, heart pounding. Inside, Garrison is slumped against a chair, bound but alive. "You're too late," he whispers hoarsely, eyes full of fear. "They said they'd come back." Hudson unties him, scanning the room for clues. Who did this to you?" Garrison looks down, ashamed. "I took the job. To scare her, not to hurt her. But they wanted her gone. Said she knew too much about something in the department. I didn't think they'd actually." He stops when he sees Rex staring toward the doorway, ears pointed. A noise, faint footsteps outside. Hudson signals silently. Rex moves first, slipping through the half-open door like a ghost. Hudson follows, gun ready but steady. Outside, a black van sits idling. The driver sees them and speeds off, tires screeching against the wet concrete. Rex lunges forward as Hudson yells, "Go!" The chase tears through the docks, the blur of rain, the echo of paws, the flash of headlights. Rex catches the scent and follows it relentlessly until the van swerves into an abandoned yard. Hudson catches up just as Rex corners the suspect. The man steps out, raising his hands. "Detective," he says, his voice calm and cold. Hudson narrows his eyes. "You're Sergeant Blake," he says, disbelief mixing with anger. Blake smirks. "You should have left it alone, Charlie. Some cases are meant to stay closed." Hudson's hand tightens on his weapon. "You kidnapped a woman, Blake. You tried to frame an innocent man." Blake shrugs, almost casually. "She found out about the evidence fund theft. She was going to ruin everything." Before Hudson can respond, Blake flicks a lighter and tosses it toward the van. Flames erupt instantly, a trap. Hudson yells for Rex as the fire roars to life. Blake uses the chaos to run. Rex darts through the smoke, lunging at his heel, but the man slips away into the night. Hudson coughs through the haze, dragging Rex out just before the van explodes in a burst of fire and shrapnel. The scene burns behind them, their only witness gone, and the truth buried deeper than before. Standing by the flickering light of the flames, Hudson looks at Rex. "They're not just hiding something," he says quietly. "They're protecting someone powerful." Rex whines softly, his eyes reflecting the firelight. The chase isn't over, it's only just begun. Night blankets St. John's in heavy clouds as thunder rumbles in the distance. The city feels different now, quieter, colder, like it knows something terrible is about to unfold. Hudson stands outside the precinct, rain dripping from the brim of his coat. Watching the ripples form in the puddles beneath his boots, the reflection of flashing police lights shimmers in the water. Rex sits beside him, soaked but alert, his gaze fixed on the horizon. They've uncovered the truth. Sergeant Blake wasn't working alone. The corruption runs deeper, and the missing woman, Alina Price, is still out there. Somewhere. Inside, tension coils around every conversation. Sarah paces with a new piece of evidence, a fragment of burnt metal found at the explosion site. She lays it on the table. It's the corner of a police-issued USB drive. Somehow, despite the fire, part of it survived. Jesse works silently, his fingers flying over the keyboard. The room hums with anticipation. After several minutes, the screen flickers to life, showing a series of encrypted files. Hudson leans closer. "Can you open it?" he asks. Jesse nods. "Give me a minute." That minute stretches like an eternity. Then, suddenly, the code breaks, revealing a series of documents, all linked to secret payments, fake evidence reports, and missing case files. One name repeats across them all: Deputy Chief Harold Lawson. Hudson's heart sinks. Lawson, the man who trained him, the one he trusted most. "He's been covering this from the start," Hudson whispers. Blake was just his shield. Rex tilts his head, sensing the storm brewing inside his partner. The room falls silent. Sarah finally says, "If Lawson's behind it, he won't let you get close. You'll need to move fast." Hudson nods, already planning. "Then we end this tonight." The final act begins at the edge of the harbor, where the storm beats against the waves. Lawson's car sits alone near the pier, engine running, headlights slicing through the rain. Hudson approaches cautiously, every step heavy with betrayal. Rex follows at his side, muscles tense. When Lawson steps out, his expression is calm, almost regretful. "Charlie," he says softly, "I told you once, this city eats good cops alive. I was just trying to survive." Hudson's voice cuts through the wind, steady but filled with pain. "You covered up a crime, Harold. You let innocent people suffer." Lawson shakes his head. "You don't understand. Alina wasn't innocent. She was working with internal affairs to expose us all. I had to make a choice." The thunder cracks overhead. For a moment, neither man moves. Then, Rex growls, a deep guttural sound that warns of what's coming. Lawson's hand twitches toward his coat pocket, and instinct takes over. Hudson shouts, "Don't." But it's too late. Lawson draws a gun, firing wildly into the rain. The shots echo off the water. Rex lunges forward, fast as lightning, knocking Lawson off balance. The weapon clatters across the ground. Hudson grabs it, pointing it back at the man who was once his mentor. Lawson's face crumples under the weight of defeat. "You think you've won?" he spits. "They'll replace me. There's always another." Hudson lowers the gun slowly, voice steady. "Maybe, but not tonight." Sirens wail in the distance as backup arrives. The wind howls, rain washing away the soot and blood. Hudson stands there, chest rising and falling, eyes locked on the sea. Rex sits beside him, breathing hard, fur matted with rain. For a long moment, they say nothing. Then Hudson looks down and says softly, You saved my life again, partner. Rex nudges his hand, a quiet gesture of loyalty that says everything words can't. Back at the station, the atmosphere shifts from chaos to relief. Lawson is in custody. Blake's confession ties every thread together. And Alina Price, rescued from an old boathouse miles away, is alive but shaken. The scandal shakes the department, but justice, for once, feels real. In the closing moments, Hudson sits on the precinct steps, the dawn light breaking through the clouds. Rex lies beside him, finally at ease. The streets are quiet again, the city breathing after a long night of storm and fire. Hudson watches the sunrise, his voice low and thoughtful. Every case leaves a scar, he says, but sometimes, it also leaves a reminder that truth still matters, and loyalty still means something. Rex lifts his head, tail wagging faintly. The camera pulls back, framing man and dog against the soft glow of morning. The city begins to wake, unaware of the darkness that nearly consumed it. And as the credits would roll, a single truth remains clear, no matter how deep the lies go. Hudson and Rex will always find the scent of justice.